Right, guys, how we all doing? Here straight back with a match preview. I didn't think I was going to come up and do these this season, but I've decided to change my mind and go down this route. Hope you all like my amazing editing skills. It took me longer than what I thought would do. But yeah, look, it's audio. Sit back and listen to it. You don't have to physically watch the screen and so on. So I thought I'd just do this really in regards to Saturday's game against Doncaster. I thought I'd try and get this out on Thursday rather than I get this out on a Friday and then you've only got a couple of hours before is rendered meaningless. So I just wanted to give a chat about Saturday's game. I can't see how long it's going to be. I'm just going to spitball really and just give my thoughts ahead of the weekend's game. Doncaster, they're going to be one of these teams that are going to be near the top end of the table. We know that. The Keepmoat's been a bogey ground for Rovers down the years. I think we've only won there twice since they moved there, and I think maybe once actually since we moved there. And I know the most recent time was in 2018, I think it was. I think we won 3-1 up there, and I think Rovers will find it difficult again, especially after the first couple of games. But who knows? When the team's out of form, you tend to get a few surprises. Doncaster made a good start to the season, 4 points out of 6. First one coming up against Charlton, and the second point coming up against MK Dons last week. Darren Moore has used the transfer and loan market system well. He's signed a lot of players from Premier League clubs and Championship clubs using his contacts there. I still think he was harshly set by West Brom. I know they're back in the Premier League now, but I think at the time it was a bit unfair on him. But Doncaster, they're going to be near the right end of the table. I think the last two home games we played against Doncaster, we've conceded 6 goals and scored none. And I think the last two away games, I think we've conceded 5 and scored 1. So we've not had the best return against Doncaster. I went there a couple of years ago. I think it was not long after Coughlin got the job permanently. I think we were 3-0 down by half time. So not the best game at all. And I, to be honest, without wishing to sound negative, I tried to give the benefit of the doubt on Saturday. I just tell how I feel, but I'm not just going to come and sit here and put everything on blast. But I just can't see Rovers picking anything up Saturday. Stranger things have happened, of course, and looking at the Rovers camp this week, we signed Luke McCormick. No, not that one. From Chelsea on loan for the season. Now, I don't know. I haven't read too deeply on this. I don't know if he's going to be the number 7, the shirt that's been vacant still. If he's the guy that Rovers are going to be, I'm going to say putting their eggs in their basket with, but if he's the guy that Rovers are going to be hoping to kind of pull the strings in the midfield and be that guy for us, then I think that's a big responsibility. And I'm not sure if it's fair to put it on a guy, he's 21 years old. I don't think he's 21, I think. Not had the biggest amount of experience. I think that's a lot to put on a guy. And while I'm all for, like I think I said this on Saturday, while I'm all for bringing the younger players in and so on, you've got to have a bit of experience in there. And I don't mean players that are over 30 or anything like that. I know it's a different position, but look at Tom Lockyer. I think he's got like 300 league appearances and he's not even 26 years old. When you compare it to Tom Davis, who I forgot Rovers still have, and I think he's only played 30 or more games in a season once. That's kind of what I'm on about there in terms of experience. So I think Rovers have got to go there with a game plan. Whatever that game plan is, I have no idea. I can't speak for what they're doing in the training ground. I know Mark Little has been quite defensive of the team lately. Excuse me, and so on. But in a day, it doesn't matter how well you're playing training; it's how you get on the pitch. And I'll be surprised if any Rovers fan is expecting a win Saturday. I've said if we can take a point, I'll take it. I don't think we will. I think we'll lose. Not badly, but a loss is a loss. But, I do think we're going to go out there and get steamrolled 4 or 5-0. I think they'll beat us soundly, but I don't think we'll leak goals. Put it that way. But looking at the Rovers side, I'm still wondering whether McCormick's going to be the answer. We can't say after when he's not even played a game, but I think it puts a lot of pressure on that midfield. And if you take Upson out the side, I think our oldest central midfielder is 23, 24. Actually, it might be 23 with Westbrook, so that tells you all you need to know. But eventually, the players I think will come good. But it's a case of, are we going to be good enough to stay up? And I think that's the thing. And I'm not one of these Rovers fans who just take staying up and lower mid-table. I want us to be at least be in the top half of the table every year. That's kind of Rovers always their benchmark, to try and get in the top half of the table. And the fact that we finished in the bottom half quite poorly, if you like, over the last 3 years or so, doesn't particularly speak well of it. And I've said this before, I don't think our run under Coughlin last year was going to stay. But I think to fall off as badly as we did, I think it's a bit concerning. But that's gone now. We've got different players. Sadly, though, it's the same issues as before we're having. But it's one of those I can't really call it at the moment, because you can see what Rovers are trying to do. I've said this. They're trying to play some good football. But is it... I've said this before. I think it's going to be a transitional season. But whether it's going to be a case of how far down the league do Rovers go, because if you're going to be sitting there in the bottom six all season, it's going to be too close for comfort. And Garner won't stay. The fan base is very split at the moment, and Garner simply won't stay. He'll be out the door. So I hope for his sake and for Rovers' sake things turn around. I'm going to give a predicted 11 for Saturday's game. I've never done this before. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get this across the screen, sort of, as I say, the players there. That'd be interesting. I'm trying to go this in the middle in terms of what I think Garner will do and what I prefer him to do. Now, I've said to ditch the back three or the back five, wherever you want to look at it. I don't think he'll do that, but we'll see. But I don't think he'll change the system. So I think obviously the goalkeeper is going to be Jacola. I think Little will play so as the wing back or on the right hand side. And you're going to have Kilgore. Again, I thought he played quite poorly last week against Gillingham, but look, he's still a young lad. A mistake's going to come in here and there. Aymer, who probably didn't do himself any favours Saturday, but he'll be in there as captain. Keane Harris will probably play left hand side of the centre backs. Now, myself personally, I like to say Tutonda play. Easy to say. I don't think he will, but that's what I'm going to go with. That's what I'm going to go with. And in the midfield, it's difficult to kind of say we're going to shape up here. So I'm going to go with Westbrook and Grant. It's a bit of a different kind of shape, I know, to what we've gone with. But bear with me on this one. So I think Westbrook and Grant are sort of the two central players, and then have McCormick as the front of the three. Big call, I know. The thing is, just signing a guy I know from Chelsea. You're going to want him to get game time. He's 21 years old. It's kind of like he needs a breakout season, really, to break into the Chelsea team, I think. So I think Garner needs to kind of play him as soon as he can, really. And then I think we're going to have Mitchell Lawson playing off of Hanlon. Now, ideally, I'd like to see a younger start with Hanlon. I know that means Mitchell Lawson dropping to the bench. I've not really seen a great deal of Mitchell Lawson to suggest that he should start Saturday. I've seen the games, of course, but I've not seen anything from him personally. So I wouldn't be surprised if he is dropped to the bench, or I'd like him to be on the bench. But I think it'd probably be with Hanlon and Mitchell Lawson. The reason why I put McCormick and Westbrook in there together, even though they're kind of similar players, is that you need to get the service to the front men. You've got to start getting the balls forward. So when I go blaming Hanlon and other players like that, when they're not getting the ball to feet, even Clark Harris had better service than this when he was at Rovers. So it's not all doom and gloom. Like I said, there is positives coming out of it. I can see this going a 2-0 win to Doncaster. I know it means not scoring again. Like I see it being a 2-0 win to Doncaster. Defensively, they're very sound and they're very efficient going forward. They've always been that way, really, over the last 2 or 3 years, even with the managerial change. They score a good amount of goals and they rarely concede any. So I can see it being a 2-0 win for Donny. We're not going to play teams like Ipswich, Doncaster, or Sunderland every week. It's a benchmark, if you like, for where Rovers where they want to be. We're not going to be there yet. I hate saying sort of get these tough games out the way first because you want to be competitive. And even though we got a point against Sunderland, we weren't really. And we weren't really against Ipswich either. We sat back in both games. So it's going to be a tough one again Saturday. Let's hope we turn it round. And look, whatever the result is Saturday, we've got another game the following week against Northampton. And hopefully we can start to turn things around. And I am going to have a separate video up on the situation regarding crowds not being allowed to attend. I will probably get that up next week. Maybe after this weekend. Depends how I feel. Because I've got a lot to say on that. I'm not particularly impressed. But, we got to just get on with it. But I'll speak to you all soon. I'll be back up here late Saturday evening or Sunday for a match review. And thank you so much for listening to this one. I will see you all very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.